So it's 1965, a very great year. It's the era that Motown Records ruled the airwaves. They ruled and dominated for the entire decade of the 60s. One of the quintessential beats that every drummer in the world now plays became popular during that period, and it was called the Motown beat, which was a real driving quarter note pulse on the snare with eighth notes on the hi-hat, and it really just drove those tunes to a whole different place. It was different than just playing the backbeat on 2 and 4. All of a sudden, with that driving quarter note pulse, it really made it feel different. So the drummer on this particular track was a good friend of mine. He passed away, unfortunately. His name was Richard Pistol Allen. They just call him Pistol at Motown. And he played that quarter note groove on a zillion of those records. The original guy who played it was Benny Benjamin, who was the original Motown staff drummer. Then Pistol and Uriel joined shortly after him. So this is not particularly hard in terms of technically how to play this groove, but it's hard to play it right, to make it feel light and smooth. You got to keep in mind all these guys that played at Motown were really jazz drummers that were making money playing on more commercial pop records, so they all had more of a jazz sensibility in their approach to playing. They played much lighter dynamically than the younger generation of today, and so it drove in a much lighter way. It wasn't super pounding and hard, and the drums were tuned definitely more in the jazz style, the way they would tune the kit on the Motown records. But anyway, this is a groove by the Four Tops called I Can't Help Myself, Sugar Pie Honey Bunch, in parentheses. It's a great anthem. Anybody who grew up in that generation loves this song, even if you haven't. It's a kind of a tune you'll hear in movies and soundtracks. It's just out there. But this is the Motown sound. A couple of side notes on the classic. There's like 3 classic Motown drum fills that were on thousands of those records, and the real classic one that kind of leads this tune off after it comes in with the bass and then the hi-hat like on 2 and 4, and then it's this classic Motown 6-stroke roll where you lead off the tom. It's like and you'll hear 5,000 Motown songs with that lick. That was a Benny Benjamin lick, the original Motown staff drummer. And then Pistol Allen's lick, it started at 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and 4, yeah. And his fill was the kind of classic Motown fill. Just started off with a tom. Then Uriel, his fill always started off on beat 3. 1, 2, so those 3 classic fills have to be in everybody's library on planet Earth as a drummer, and they graced 1,000 Motown hit records. But that 6-stroke roll, it ties in with all of those great Motown records. And this 4 on the snare feel, this Motown beat, is in a lot of the great Motown songs of that period, but it also went into the 70s and 80s, and it's still around. It's just that driving quarter note pulse, whether they're playing it with eighth notes, whether it's more rock, whether it's more pop, and you'll hear it also in other songs in just certain sections of the song. Might not be the whole song. It might be a B section, a C section, or a bridge. So it's a great groove, and it just makes you want to dance.